Hello, we are Danger Critical, the developers of Spell Thief. I am Sam,
I'm Leo.
I'm 许彤王.
I'm Jamie.
And I'm curious.
and we're going to take you through some of the
Yeah.
design decisions we made on our game. But first, I'd like to show you some of the main mechanics of our game. Here, I can steal spells from whoever's walking by. I just collect a few of them, and I can talk with whoever I want as well. It's more than just talking, though. There's also full quests, and I'm going to show you the quest in this area.
So if you can, if you look here now, Sam's gonna go talk to the bartender, and after Sam finishes his juice over there down the bar, he's gonna pick up a quest from the bartender. So as you can see, there have been some strange people sighted in the tavern. The bartender's not really sure what they're up to, but he rented them a room anyway. And now he's a little worried that they're going to be up to no good. So if you talk to him, talk to a few of the people around, Sam there just stole a spell from the man in the barrel over there that you can use to animate barrels. And you can see he found the key that the bartender was asking for. Now once he's got the key, he can go down into the basement with the door over there, but he needs to get that cultist away. So he's using spooky noise to get over there and get downstairs. So once you get down here, it looks a little scary at first with a lot of cultists, but you can see it's really just a retirement party for their buddy Reggie. He's gotten a little old to be in the cult, and he's passing off his title of cult leader to Doug, who is
Hanging up the old cowl.
Yeah, you can see Doug down there a little bit beneath that fog down at the bottom, down at the back side of the staircase. But yeah, now that Sam's finished that quest, you saw a lot of spells in there, so we can have Kirsten talk a little bit about the kind of spells that we made in this game.
So, I guess in most RPGs, the spells they have are like fireball or like lightning or something. But for our game, we were thinking of doing more non-traditional spells, like more silly, kind of like, I guess like a little like not really focused on like powerful spells,
Like
but more
non-destructive
like
spells.
more like silliness. So some of the spells we have that Sam was using, it was create whole, hunger.
I think what's important with our spells was spells that you might not seem to have an obvious useful purpose at first, but can be combined in interesting ways to like make fun things happen or solve problems.
Like using curious noise to draw a bunch of people into an area and then making all of them hungry. Or using curious noise to form a conga line of wizards.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
So this area is Hightown. It's a very integral part of our game story, and I'll pass it back to Jamie to talk a bit about what they are doing in this world.
So Hightown is, we have 4 really distinct areas in the game, and Hightown, out of all those areas, Hightown is the closest to what you might consider to be classical fantasy. You've got, compared to the other areas, relatively simple, kind of, you might say boring wizards. They just do normal wizard things. And they kind of think, well, we're the most normal wizards, so we should be like all the wizards. The Wizard Queen, who's in charge of Hightown, decides eventually that they want to make the rest of the world like them. And so they essentially invade and start taking over these other areas like Lowtown, Green Hollow, which is where we are now, and Shiver Peak, which you'll see in a little bit. And that sort of makes up the meat of the kind of narrative of our game, is trying to fight back against this invasion and kind of preserve the crazy, chaotic, fun nature of these other areas that the Hightown wizards are trying to get rid of.
You as the player and a lot of these other non-Hightown NPCs probably view Hightown wizards as like stuffy aristocrats. Their rules and laws who try to get in the way of everyone's business in day-to-day life.
And they have a very kind of clearly a different mentality, but also a different sort of set of spells, because some of the spells that the Hightown Wizards wield are a little bit more traditional than other ones, whereas people in Green Hollow might have, in the forest area, might have some spells that might make you fart or turn something green or something like that, or grow tree like Sam was using earlier. Hightown Wizards will have things like Portal, where it's just sort of a more classical wizard spell, and that sort of sets them apart.
Yeah. Oh, so here we are in the snow maze right here. You have, this is on the path to the village. You have a limited amount of time before you get too cold to continue, and you get spit back out at the beginning of the area. So you have to find your way through the maze. There are some spells along the way that can help warm you up, but these snowmen here will chase you and freeze you. If you get too cold, the screen will ice over.
All right, so I think we should take this as an opportunity to talk about some of our artistic inspirations on this game, because you can see it has a very distinctive art style to it. So I think you should talk a little bit about that, Leo.
Sure, yeah. So wanted the art to feel as messy and fun as this world is. Roughly drawn sketches, but with some fun 2D animation thrown in to accentuate the silly characters and the nature of our spells here.
So there's a few key objects scattered among the different locations that you can steal, and they will appear in your room inside the bar.
Could you go ahead and cast our Ease of Passage for me? This is a nice spell. It makes you all stinky and drop little poops as you go. Let's see.
Oh, I'm getting cold. Let's see if I can make it.
So a lot of our first day of the development process was just sort of us brainstorming spells and coming up with fun, silly ideas and seeing if we could put them in. So that poop spell we call Ease of Passage was one of our original spell ideas, and we kind of laughed, we were sort of half joked we'll never use this, and here we are now. We got the poop spell, and it scares people away from both you and the poops.
That sort of was a little microcosm for a lot of our design process, where there were a couple of things that are now to us spiritually kind of key parts of the game that sort of came about because someone suggested something as a joke, and then someone else put it in the game as a joke, and it just kind of stayed. Like, for example, Kitty, which is the name for our little bird, landing on your head there and stacking on top of itself.
Yeah, so when I first drew this was the first actual in-game sprite of the player I drew, was them just idling, standing to the side there, and Kirsten immediately drew a bird in their hair.
It's very nest-like hair.
Yeah, and I mean, we liked it so much that I cut out the bird so that we could use it later, and then Sam immediately made the bird landing on your head. So I went back and added a little flap animation, and now the bird is central to our
and the
central to our game.
And same thing with other parts of the game and entire NPCs. If you noticed way back in Lowtown, in that first area outside the tavern, where Sam was talking and casting spells on somebody who was standing next to a dog with a wizard hat on. And that dog sort of just came about because I made a joke about how we would get a poor score on the Twitter, from the Twitter account, Can You Pet the Dog? And so Leo went, I can make a dog. And we put a dog in the game that you can pet.
Okay, this is the boss fighting of Snow Wizard. So the mechanic of this boss is that the boss is gain power from the 4 snowman, and your goal is to let the snowman far from the boss, and then you can steal the wizard's energy power. So we want to make our boss fighting non-violence. Oh, sorry, I forgot what that.
It's okay. You can keep going.
So we don't want the player kill anyone, and we don't want the boss kills the player. Also, we want to make the boss fighting both funny and impact. So the mechanic of the boss fighting is the key point. Also, there are many. Also, the player can steal some basic spell from the boss and the soldiers. However, if you are smart enough and you can bring some very good spell from outside the world, and this spell sometimes can give you a lot of advantage during the boss fighting and make the boss fighting very easy.
Our future goals for this project are polishing the boss fights and increasing the clarity in general around them and in some of the areas as well. We would also like to condense the areas a little bit so it's more clear where you can go or need to go, because
Put all like the key spells and quests sort of closer together.
yeah.
Oh, and implementing like the mini map.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Our last change that we would like to have done over the next couple of months is having Hightown be more adverse to the player before you have stolen the queen's crown and thus her symbol of power.
The sort of end game for the player is chasing out the queen and stealing the crown.
Yeah, thus making you the ruler of the land.
Yeah, you don't actually do any ruling, but you just sort of continue with your thefty ways. But now you also have a crown.
That's about it for today, so I'll leave you off with the kitty cave. Thanks for watching.